Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I am awesome. How are you?
Fabulous. It's a Monday. Got done with a nice long weekend, so time to dive back into work. So, of course, it's going to be good. And we've actually got a pretty cool guest today. You're going to stick around because I want you to be on the call today. Usually, when I make the call, it's me all by myself. But I have Helen Chen. She is the matchmaker of the century, and she has a book called The Matchmaker of the Century. And she has a website called matchmakerofthecentury.com.
That's
and
super.
We're going to visit with her about if this thing's going to work out between us or not.
All right.
I'm hoping that it will. You know,
we'll see.
Been together for quite a while now, a little over 16 years. So I think we're probably okay. Hey, according to Population Council, did you know that people tend to marry people who live near them? No kidding? Well, of course they do. How else are they going to get married if they're... Well, I live here and you're in Australia, but we should get married.
Yes.
This is the dumb thing. Why would they even do a study on that?
Why do they do most of the studies
I don't
that
know.
do? It's
They
so
did
frustrating.
That one. That's one that now we can all breathe a big sigh of relief and know that that's all taken care of. Coming up, we got a fun story from Chicago O'Hare. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
If you've ever traveled, there's a pretty good chance you've probably been to this airport, the Chicago O'Hare International Airport. That's kind of a hub in the country, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
You've been there before.
Yep.
I've been there before. A lot of folks that travel have been there at least once. Next time you're there, you might want to look out the window and see if you can see, I guess, what I would consider kind of like a petting zoo almost. Because their groundskeepers are not people. Their groundskeepers are a herd of hooved animals who love green vegetation. They have over 40 grazers, including goats and sheep and llamas and burros and alpacas, and they graze hilly and rocky areas along the creek parts of O'Hare's 8,000-acre property. So it'd be difficult to maintain with a traditional landscaping crew, so they have goats and sheep and llamas and burros hanging out. I've never noticed that before.
I've not ever noticed that either. I wonder where they keep all those things in the winter.
I don't know. I have no clue. Maybe they keep them inside, and they hang out in Terminal D. I don't know. I have no clue. But that's at Chicago O'Hare. Next time I travel, I'm going to look out the window and see if I can see a sheep.
Definitely going to look.
Hey, there's a llama. There's an alpaca. All right, coming up, we got some fun stuff. We're going to be talking about corn from the sky on the way from Kansas.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Well, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio, but this is a bizarre story. It's a plague that you can add to the list. There were frogs, there were locusts, and hail. How about corn? I don't remember reading about that plague, do you?
No.
It happened in Wichita. Nobody really knows why it happened, but it was an event of biblical proportions, things falling from the sky that couldn't be explained. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but corn husks were falling from the sky in Wichita, Kansas. This happened in the summer of 2001. So this
Really?
isn't recent, but there was a news report that said thousands of foot-long and larger leaves were falling from the sky, raining from the sky in the Wichita area. A meteorologist from that area, Chad Petta, says that in cases of high winds and tornadoes, thunderstorms, and other extreme weather events, it's not unusual for objects to fall from the sky after getting blown long distances. But here's the weird thing. There was no unusual weather leading up to this to explain why they had corn husks falling from the sky.
Huh.
Some thoughts, they think that perhaps an airplane might have somehow been responsible, but there's no theory or evidence to back that theory. They have no idea why, but for whatever reason, in the summer of 2001, corn husks, again, they were about a foot long, like the leaves and stuff, they were raining down in the Wichita, Kansas area.
Crazy.
How weird would that
we
be?
would have heard? I didn't hear about that.
I didn't
You
hear
think
about
we
it
would have
either.
heard about
That's why
that?
when
So
I
it
was
wasn't
reading
that long ago.
No, 2001. Yeah, I remember 2001, but this was in the summer of 2001.
fact, up until recently, we still drove a vehicle from 2001. So really was not all that long ago.
No. But this happened in the Wichita, Kansas area, and I have no idea why. Nobody knows why. But I was reading this story, and I thought, hey, that would fit really well on our You Heard It on the Radio segment, because it sounds unbelievable. But you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Coming up here in a bit, we've got a guest, Helen Chen, the matchmaker of the century. Going to be visiting with her to find out if this thing between Heidi and I is going to work out. I'm hoping. Crossing my fingers.
Fingers crossed.
Hoping it's going to work. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Today, it's a husband and wife team, Heidi. Now, the two of us are married.
Yeah.
We're a husband and wife team.
Yes, we are.
But let's not do this. A husband and a wife were both pulled over for drunk driving in two separate cars.
Oh.
This was in Nevada. They both get drunk driving charges after being stopped at the same time in two separate cars. Elko County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Murphy says the wife's car almost crashed into him, and he pulled over that's after he pulled over the husband. He pulled over the husband, and the wife almost hit the guy. He says Mr. Murphy says that this is his and hers drunk driving case he's ever heard about in the area. Police arrested them and put them in separate cells in the Elko County Jail. So they didn't get to share a cell.
So they must have been out drinking together after work because they had two separate vehicles and they were heading home.
They said, hey, we're fine. We don't need a driver. Here's the thing. My wife, beautiful woman that sits here with me, Heidi, she likes to drink. That's why I don't drink. I'm the designated driver.
Yes.
She's the designated drinker.
I am. It works
You need to put a good plan like that together so you don't do dumb stuff like this. Otherwise, you'll end up on the radio in our little segment called This Is Your Brain on Drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Time now for the moment of duh, and it's teachers today. This is such a weird story. 5 teachers at Southwest High School in Miami were a little short on cash, so they were trying to come up with a creative way to make some extra dough. Typically, they get extra overtime, like $6,000 for doing classes in their spare time, offering extra classes in wrestling and track and field and fitness and lifestyles and aerobics. So they had 2 semesters of these extra classes going by, and school officials noticed that all of the students were getting straight A's. And they thought, wow, these guys are really good teachers, apparently. Everybody's getting straight A's. So they stopped by, and that's when they found out that there were no classes being taken at all. There were no students even. They made up all of the students' names. All 5 teachers were quickly arrested. They face 12 counts of felony. Oh. Because they were stealing money from the school district.
Well, yeah.
Pretending to teach students that didn't exist. They all got straight A's.
They probably would have gotten away with it if they wouldn't have given everybody straight A's.
They probably should have
They would have said, this kid here, he was always pulling D's.
Don't give anybody ideas. But they were giving them all straight A's. I think the reason the teachers were coming to check it out is the one kid got a scholarship. I think. I'm not sure. It's like, this guy is awesome. We want him on the hockey team. I don't know. Anyway, that happened in Miami.
Why would he need to be on the hockey team because he had straight A's?
No, because it was, what was it here? They said classes like, where were they here? Wrestling, track and field, fitness, aerobics, things like that. Oh. So they were all getting straight A's. So I don't know. Maybe there's no hockey team in Miami after thinking about that.
I don't know. I
Could
don't
be.
know.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
And this is your Scoop of the Day. There really is a disease called the laughing disease, Heidi. Do you know what happens? People
you laugh and
literally
laugh and you cannot stop.
And they laugh themselves to death.
Oh, but that would be a good way to go.
Oh, if you have the laughing disease, just be careful because sometimes our program can be somewhat humorous. Never once has anyone laughed themselves to death yet, but I don't want that to start today. Yeah, no, not that we know of. Well, if they did, they didn't call and tell us they did. So I don't think they could. Hey, a controversial video has emerged of Queen Elizabeth as a child giving the Nazi salute in 1933. What? Didn't even know anything about that. So that happened last week. Boston bus driver gave passengers a cool treat on a hot day when he stopped at a child's lemonade stand. John Lowen asked permission to stop, and all the passengers agreed, and he treated everybody to some lemonade, 50 cents a cup.
Oh, that's nice.
That is very nice. Surgeons in China have restored the use of a hand that was severed in an industrial accident, but they had to wait a month. The injury to the arm was so severe, the surgical team believed that they needed that time to allow the nerves and tendons to heal. Ugh. To keep the hand alive, they grafted it onto a man's ankle for a month before reattaching it to his arm. So for a month, this guy had a hand hanging off his ankle. All right.
That is just disgusting.
For those of you trying to enjoy some sort of meal right now, I apologize. Hey, a survey found that many of us have said something we regret on a first date. Why? A lot of people blame alcohol. A third of us say that we regret at least something. And 1 in 5 say they end up doing things, too, that they regret. Not just say things, but do things like try to smooch or something like that. So be careful on those first dates. The United States FDA, Food and Drug Administration, allows up to 60 insect parts in a 100-gram sample of chocolate. Oh. So if there's anything more than 60, then they got to take that chocolate off the line. But if there's only 60 parts, they're okay. Oh. That's not good news. The seeds behind the world's favorite hair-producing ceramic creature, chia, they're turning up in unexpected places, like a cake recipe. A gel made from chia seeds, the ones that you see on the chia pets, may work as a substitute for eggs or oil to reduce fat content in cakes. Would you like a chia cake?
No, thank you.
Nor would I. That doesn't sound good. Who knows? Maybe the stuff is delicious. A Gallup poll says that half of the people in Illinois would leave the state if they could. The top reason for wanting to leave, given by 26% of the polled, was work and business related. They don't like what they do and they want to go somewhere else. Weather was the next most cited reason for wanting to leave. I say if they don't like it, they should leave.
Right, are they being held captive or something?
Of all of the people left, I think, if you're there and you're disgruntled, think about how much happier people would be in Chicago if there was less traffic because all the unhappy people left.
Well, they probably don't have the toll money to leave the damn state.
We went there. And it was $3.60 in toll.
Like every 2 feet.
We drive along and we're like, another $3.60. I'm like, what in the world? Okay. It was a tough day in the office indeed for the police in Oklahoma City. The SWAT team recently surrounded a suspected drug house, and they staged a standoff with the residents inside. 7 hours. Things stayed pretty tense as negotiators tried to get the guy to surrender. After 7 hours, they found out there was nobody in the house. We're coming in if you don't come out. Then they went in, and there's nobody there. They're like, wow, that was 7 hours that we kind of wasted right there.
Oh, my goodness.
All
that
right,
was good practice.
It was. Hey, in Hartford, Connecticut, our strange law comes from Hartford, Connecticut. It is illegal to cross the street while walking on your hands.
Oh.
So don't walk on your hands while crossing the street in Hartford, Connecticut. It's illegal there. It's just a dumb idea everywhere else because you wouldn't want to do that. That's a bad idea. That is your scoop of the day and your strange law for the day. Coming up, Helen Chen, the matchmaker of the century. That's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening on a Monday. We've got a special guest on the line. I've got Helen Chen, and she's the author of The Matchmaker of the Century. You've got the website matchmakerofthecentury.com. Welcome, Helen. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for your love, Burr.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. And usually when I talk to authors, it's just me, but I brought Heidi along to visit with you because we're married. And one of the things that's really unique about our marriage is we met in September and we were married in February. And according to you, that's a good thing, right?
Yes, that's why your marriage lasts so long. See, already over 16 years. That's the successful action.
So now how long should somebody typically know their significant other before they ask them to marry them?
I'm thinking usually, for now, our knowledge is so fast, the communication is so in the good shape, between 4 to 6 months is enough.
So if there's a couple that's been dating for a long time and one of them wants to get married and the other one doesn't, is there any evidence that it's bad to date for a long time?
Right. Unless very young. If you're 17, then I say okay. But if you are 35, I say no.
Yeah.
Because marriage is very much to do with the age. That's very important. Doesn't matter you want to have a baby or not, especially if you want to have the children, that will be on the way because the younger is better. Also, you want to share all your life's nice things with your loved one. You don't want to share them very, very late until you're 40 or something. So you want to share all this time together. Besides, the longer you date, do not guarantee you have a better marriage, and that is the real fact.
What age is the best?
The thing is this. You see, the more you date, the more you actually not sure because you see the problem and you see the things in life, you see the drawback more often. So it's not really good about, you keep going dating, especially when the people just dated for fun and then not really thinking about to marry. Because you love someone is the ability. So you want to grow this ability into the life, not just like a try and try and try. This is not like a eat a popcorn or drink a Coke. So you want to be developed, both your feeling and your share and grow together. So if you don't really get married, you're going to see more problem. But if you marry and then you're working together, you feel you more fall in love day by day and you understand each other better. If you just date, you will never really understand the other person more. You know why? Because we all people marry like you and me, we all know people change. You change. So how do you know after 3, 5, 10 years what kind of person you're going to become? You see? So if you don't know, then who's going to know? So the longer you date, actually is more confusion. And you start to feel more not sure. That's why I see a lot of people, they date for 7 years, not married. Well, I always tell them you should break up because you know what? The dating people, 85% of them end of a breakup. So you break up your relationship, you're breaking your heart, and you're making the next relationship more difficult, and you're making your marriage less happiness.
So when you very first start dating someone, are there signs to look for to know if they're the right one or signs to look for to know if they're not the right one?
Yes, exactly. You need to do your homework. Just like before you go to shopping your computer, you want to have a little bit checklist, like what do you want? You not just go shopping and shopping. Yes, if you have a time and if you're young, you do that because this type of things is when you're 17, you can just go window shopping, you go checking around what is out there. But if you're 35 or if you're in the age you want to marry, you're over 20, you should think about what kind of a lifestyle you want, what kind of person you are, what kind of person will matching you, making you happy and this type of idea. And then give a very nice, simple idea, like you want to have children, where you want to live, and then what kind of lifestyle you will be. And that will making you actually thinking about what kind of person will be more matching. But overall, the most important thing is can you both have a good conversation? That's it. That was very simple. So you date somebody for 4 months, you should know what kind of conversation you guys enjoy each other or not. That will making a big, decisions there. So you don't want to just like a blindly date and then say, okay, we just married. Not like that. But you should know about yourself and you're making your checklist, not like a long, 3 pages, but then you should have a few items. You know what is your priority in life. And that was enough. And you have to dating with the idea you want to get married.
So let's talk about people in their second marriage. If you've been married and divorced and you get remarried, are your odds better or worse on that second marriage?
Well, it depends on person. If you do study and you understand why and you know more about yourself and you know the reason why you divorce and you want to changing, that is, you have a bigger chance to have a second time you're going to do the right thing. But if you just have so much hatred and you just so upset and then you just really don't want to grow up and don't want to changing, for example, like you still very, very much dramatically thinking about, people should service you or you're just thinking about what a man should be, what a woman should be, that kind of a fixed idea, then the second marriage a lot of time get worse because they do have this statistic shows the second marriage people, divorce rate is even higher. But I also see a lot of people who are really working on, they mature, they learn, they actually learn something from the first marriage, then the second one very successful. So this is very important. Myself is a second marriage. My husband also, we're doing very, very well. We already married over 25 years. So this is a very, very big difference about, when you can really confront what is the things in the marriage. Because after all, beloved and love is the ability. So when you have this ability, you know how to handle love. They will make you successful. So it's not just the person, it's your mentality. So very important you can learn, and that's why I give people this love seminar, because you need to learn how to love and how to be loved.
My wife Heidi and I were both married once before, and I remember our first date, our first official date when we went out. Remember that, Heidi?
Yep, I do.
We kind of both had like a list of things that this is, if you're interested in this and this and this, and I'm not going to put up with this and that and this. And there were people sitting at other tables in this restaurant that were kind of laughing at us.
It sounded more like a business negotiation than a date.
Kind of sounded like she was, applied for a position, and I applied for a position. But we got that out of the way right away, and we kind of set the stage as to what we both expected, and basically said, sounds good. Then let's start dating.
Yep.
And it wasn't long after that.
5 months later, we were married.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is called a mature. The people who know how to love, and then they know what they want. See, the marriage is not like you have a perfect one. The marriage is you find a person fit you, suit you, and that was the love one, and that was one and only. And that was why you create this. You see, people always thinking about Mr. Right. It's not like that. It's not like just like somebody come and perfect for you. It's not like that. It's you working on, and you have the same goal, and you both work together. And the more you work on, the more you fall in love. And there goes times, and you share, and then you love each other. It's so beautiful. The people who success, they can understand what we're talking about more. So it's a maturity, because you have a second time, you have a more experience, but not everybody learn from their failed marriage, you see. So the thing is, can you learn or can you not learn? So once you learn what is the things needed for you and what is important in the marriage, well, then you can always success. Then you get it.
I'm just smiling because I don't think I've ever been called mature before.
Well,
and it's so cute. Very nice couple you are.
Well, and you mentioned earlier that you have to be able to talk to each other, and I'll tell you, that is so true. My wife and I would consider Heidi my best friend.
Yes.
And there's when something good in my life happens, she's the first person I want to talk to. Even if it has nothing to do with her.
My husband will agree with you. Cannot be more.
and we want that for everybody we know. And if you're single and you're listening to this and you're not dating somebody and you're wanting to maybe change that, I encourage you to pick up a copy of the book. Helen, where can I find the book, The Matchmaker of the Century? Where can I find that?
Well, you can find from the Amazon. You can find the Barnes & Noble. You can walk into the bookstore. You can go to the e-book, and you can download the book. It's very easy. You're searching, Helen Chen, Matchmaker of the Century, and you'll find it. And you can buy it. You can buy it at home. You can go to the store.
Well, we're going to send them out there. And then your website, matchmakerofthecentury.com. If they go there, can they get some more info as well?
Yeah, we have the love seminar I do in America, in the Los Angeles, October 24th and 25th, 2 days for the married people. And for the single person, we're talking about how to get into the nice relationship, how to find your happiness. So I encourage everybody to come to join the love seminar, because you can always learn more and then enjoy your happiness deeper.
Well, we're going to send them out to get your book. Helen, thank you so much for taking some time to visit with us today.
Thank you,
Thank
Helen.
you so much. Oh, happy couple. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Again, Helen Chen is the author of The Matchmaker of the Century. Learn more at matchmakerofthecentury.com.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is Monday, the 24th day of August, and it's a very special day because today is Knife Day.
Oh.
I don't know why. Maybe the knife was invented today.
Our son likes knives.
Yeah, he does. Vesuvius Day today as well, which I don't know what that is, but I'll just move on because it sounds like something smart people would know. William Wilberforce Day.
Don't know what that is either.
Wazy Goose Day.
What on earth?
Pluto Demoted Day.
Oh,
boo.
that still breaks my heart.
I think Pluto's a planet again now, isn't it?
I don't think it is.
I think they said that he's a planet again. I don't know.
I
I can't
think
keep
so.
up. That's just like knowing, are eggs good for you this week or not? Because they say eggs are good for you. Then they say, no, they're not. No, they say, yeah, they are. And there's one other thing on here. It's National Waffle Iron Day. I love waffles.
I know you do.
I never really get waffles. And we'll go to a restaurant that serves them and I forget to order them. So, I don't know. Maybe today I'll go get some waffles. It is a good day to do it. National Waffle Iron Day.
I'm a French toast girl.
I know you are. You know it'd be really good? Make some waffles, then dip them in French toast batter and cook them again. I wonder if anyone's ever done that. Like a twice-baked waffle. I might try that. It is the 24th day of August. It's a Monday. Thanks for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
I get some fun things sent to me here, and this one was sent to me from a Career Builder, and they have some tips to eliminate excess noise when you're working. Like if you don't have an office door. A lot of people have cubicles. There are several people that are probably listening at work. If you are sitting in a cubicle, crank your radio up so everybody can hear this. Here are ways to deal with a noisy office. White noise. If colleagues' conversations and ringing phones have you reading the same sentence over and over, maybe get a CD with white noise on it and play that on your computer.
I love white noise, but be careful if you do that because
makes
you
you
will
tired.
fall asleep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it does.
Then that creates a different set of problems.
Yeah. What's the problem
You're
over
better
here?
off with the noise.
I'm sorry. I had some white noise. Fell asleep in the meeting again. Next thing, radios or CDs. If your company allows it, download a media player to the computer. You can listen to this radio station.
Yes, you
Tune in to
can.
us. We'll gladly play it for you. You could also listen to favorite CDs. Boo, who wants that? Listen to us. Next thing, have plants. Plants are good at absorbing noise. Make sure your manager's okay with you getting some greenery. Don't overdo it because you don't want to look like you're in the outback when you walk in your office.
And they release oxygen, and extra
all good.
oxygen is always good.
Everybody wins. But if you have too many, it'll be a jungle in your office. You don't want that. Next thing, non-reflective surfaces. Make some noise of your own. Consult the facilities managers about putting up noise-absorbing material in your office. So if you're the one making the noise, say, hey, I don't want to make everybody in the office hate me. Can I put something up to kind of block some of this noise? Next thing it says on here, on ways to keep your office a little quieter, confront the culprit. Just one person making noise in the office, go over to him and say, hey, I don't know if you know this, but you're really kind of loud when you're on the phone. If you could tone that down just a bit, everybody else hates you. I like you, of course, but all these other people want to beat you up in the parking lot, so just be careful. Next thing, maybe don't do it that way. Next thing, set up a noise-free zone. Another one, have noise-canceling headphones or noise-canceling products, things that you could put on like earplugs or whatnot.
That one probably makes the most sense out of all of them.
It does, but you got to make sure that you're not, if you get permission to do that, because if you're in your office with earplugs in and your boss is calling you, or your phone's ringing and you're not hearing it, that could be bad. Next says move it or lose it. If there's like a copy machine right next to you and that's what's bugging you, ask if they can move those things. And then finally, and this probably makes the most sense, post a sign. If I could just say, please keep it quiet in this area. We're trying to get some work done. Because I've had it where people will come and hang out near your cubicle and chat and cause all kinds of noise, and that drives people nuts. It's usually me that's doing it. But I've noticed. If they put up a sign that says, John, we don't want you here, I could take a hint. If you'd like to know more, Career Builder has all that info.
And just so you know, if you do all of these things, you will be the obnoxious coworker that nobody likes.
There'll be another list on here somewhere that people that you don't like to work with.
How to deal with obnoxious coworkers.
All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Men are kind of reluctant to ask for directions. And it's not just one guy. It's a lot of guys. Am I reluctant to ask for directions?
Not usually, no.
No, I'm usually pretty good at this. I remember one time we were driving and we were going like to a completely different state, and I finally had to turn around because you're like, we're going the wrong way. I'm like, no, I think we're fine. Remember that?
No.
We were like in Cheyenne, Wyoming or somewhere. We were like on the edge of the state.
I have no idea.
You don't remember that?
No.
All right. Anyway, men are so reluctant to ask for directions, they're going to rack up an extra 900 miles during their lifetime. Yeah. 1,000 respondents from a UK study, so this is in England, 94% said women were generally better at navigation, even though men are often reluctant to admit that. The study estimated that wrong turns meant the average British man would needlessly travel an extra 1.5 miles a month before he would get things corrected. clocking an extra 18 miles a year. Over 50 years, that's 13,500 minutes or 225 hours wasted because they don't know where they're going. I will be one of the first ones. If we have the GPS and we can't find something, I'll pull over and ask a local. I'm like, hey, do you know where we are? Because I have no clue
you're
where
better
I'm
at
located.
asking. Actually, in our relationship, you're better at asking.
Because I've been lost enough.
For
I'm like, you know what?
more than I am.
I've been lost so many times. I finally just say, hey, I'm going to ask. Somebody's going to tell me.
In fact, I think in a lot of ways, our roles are reversed in our relationship. Don't you think so?
You think I'm the chick and you're the dude?
I think so.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Definitely more sentimental. Like, you'll cry at commercials, and I'm looking at you like, what is wrong
I have a greeting
with you?
card sitting on the corner of my desk. You're like, oh, whose birthday? I'm like, oh, it's my Father's Day card from last year. Oh, you mean I don't need to leave it sit here? All right. Coming up, we got a real Doogie Howser in the news on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Many people, like our age anyway, at least, would know who Doogie Howser is. But kids, if you don't know who that is, ask mom and dad. They'll tell you. But there's a real Doogie Howser, kind of. An 8-year-old boy tied his mother's umbilical cord with a shoelace after he helped her deliver her baby. Tommy Davidson from Detroit also called an ambulance and made sure his new sister didn't fall off the bed. The baby came quicker than Mama thought. She'd sent her husband out to pick up a relative, and that's when the baby arrived. Tommy said, my mom said, when the baby's head comes out, don't let her fall on the floor. Then she said, put her on my stomach and put a towel on her to keep her warm. The kid said, I was scared that she had all that stuff all over her.
Yeah.
But he made it happen. So mom was walking the 8-year-old through, and the kiddo was doing
Good
what
for
mom
both
said.
of them.
So yeah,
holy
awesome.
cow!
I was there for a baby being born. I don't know that I could do that.
No.
I suppose, honestly, I know I could if I had to, but it would still not be fun. So, hats off to you, Doogie Howser. And it's not really Doogie Howser. Tommy Davidson, young man from Detroit.
I was there when 2 babies were born, and I couldn't walk somebody through. Here's what you do. I was too busy screaming and such.
Coming up, we're going to talk about mistakes on resumes. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Got some more info here from Career Builder. They sent me a lot of stuff. Apparently, it was a boring day at Career Builder, so they just said, hey, let's email a bunch of stuff to John. But how much time does a potential employer really spend looking at your resume? We'll give you that answer in a second. But right now, we're going to talk about memorable resume mistakes. They asked 2,500 employers to tell us about the dumbest thing you've ever seen sent on a resume. And there's a lot of people that said a lot of misspellings where people spell things wrong.
Right.
That's one of the things. But then here are the funnier ones. Somebody put God as a reference, but they put behind it no phone number.
Actually, it probably would have been more disturbing if there had been a phone number.
Oh, well, I'm going to call that reference. I know God. God knows me, but I'm not going to put God as my reference. Next on here, somebody sent a 24-page resume. 24 pages? How many jobs would they have had to put 24 pages?
Or how many accomplishments? I mean, what an egomaniac.
Yeah. Oh, I've also done this. And when I was in second grade. And fourth grade. And here's all the people I know. I got 18 pages of references.
Either that or you just used really big font.
That could be. Maybe that's what it was. Really. And then they put on there, I'm sorry the font was so big. I couldn't fix it, but I don't know how to use my computer, but I would like your office manager position. All right. Another email or another mistake here on resumes was including an email address that was unprofessional. And there was one that had somebody loves beer at something, something, something. So they're saying make sure you have a professional email address for your resume. And then next on here, somebody listed Master of Time and Universe under experience.
Now, that person I probably would hire.
Would. I think you would. Now, let's talk about how long they actually look. There's at least 5 applicants for every job out there. So you want to make sure you have a good resume. And it says here there are usually a ton of resumes that come in for good jobs, but nobody looks, according to this, they don't look at all the resumes. They look at maybe 25 at the most. So if they'll get 50 of them, they're not going to look at all of them. And 38% of employers said they spend less than a minute looking at your resume. On average, 18% said less than 30 seconds. So you want to get their attention right away, but in a good way, not in a bad way by having something unprofessional. So there you go. A little bit of good news for you if you're looking for a job. Hey, we got some good news on the way as we end the program. We always try to find something positive. Sometimes it's a challenge, but we'll do it on the way next.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to wrap things up with a positive note here, and I think this is actually pretty darn funny. If you don't like that irritating smartphone alarm clock chirping in the morning to wake you up, maybe that's not even enough to wake you up, there's another way to wake up in the morning. According to Huffington Post, there's an inventor and a YouTube star, Colin Furze, came up with a thing called the high voltage ejector bed. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a concept bed frame that flips sleepyheads onto their feet. Sirens and trumpets will blare at the same time. Users can also adjust the force from low to high depending on how much they need to be yanked out of bed and how far they are willing to be thrown out of bed. So you could literally have this thing fling you across the room if you want to.
That is absolutely fantastic.
I think it's really funny because there are people that I know, my son Troy, no names needed to be mentioned, my son Troy, who struggle to wake up. You know, you'll have the alarm go off. We're like, hey, get up, guys. Time to go to church. And then, I'll take a shower and I'll get ready. I'll walk by and he's still sleeping. I'm like, hey,
if I owned a
come on, man.
hotel, I would secretly equip every single room with that alarm clock.
That would be so funny. Call down to the front desk. They're like, yeah, I'd like to set up a wake-up call. You're like, what time would you like it? I'm going to be there peeking through your peephole. As ridiculous as this thing sounds, it really is kind of a funny idea.
It's a fantastic idea.
Personally think that I would ever put one of these in my house. But I can see where if you're maybe somebody, I used to work with a guy that would oversleep all the time, and he actually lost his job because he overslept too many times. And if you have a situation like that, what good news is this? This is awesome. It's a way to make sure that you're going to wake up.
I think it's fantastic.
And the bed will lift up and slide you out of bed. You're going to get up if that happens. If you sleep through that, you may have medical issues. I'm just saying.
You may want to seek a physician.
I just thought that was some fun stuff to end the program with.
Goodness.
Thank you so much for listening. It's time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break, only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And the bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Oh, I have that written down over here, but why did I have that down here? I lost that. My little note to remind me what their website is. Like I could possibly forget that. It is very difficult. dollarshaveclub.com/radio. You go check that out and buy your razors, and you'll be as happy as I am with them. Coming up over here, I got a couple of fun stories. Michael Martin stole a car, but instead of selling it to a chop shop, he thought, I'm going to sell it back to the person I stole it from.
Oh, what an idiot.
Yeah, he found a phone number. He called the woman he stole the car from, claiming to have bought the car for $600, then realized it was stolen. He then offered to sell it back to her for the same amount. No deal. She said after some negotiating, she agreed to buy it for $200. Knowing something wasn't right, she called the police. They were waiting for him when he showed up with the car. Expecting cash, instead of getting $200, he got 2 handcuffs clicked on each wrist. A man in Peninsula Claron, I don't know where that is, somewhere in Alaska, ran into a grocery store packed with people, busy as ever, and yelled, "Everybody freeze! Nobody move!" You know what that means? Apparently not. Nobody paid any attention. Everybody ignored him. The store manager says, "Sir, we're busy." And he tried again, yelling out, "You people don't understand. I really mean it." This time he did get a reaction. One customer told him, "You're going to get in trouble talking like that." At that point, the would-be robber left empty-handed. So nothing happened. He walked in. He tried robbing the place. Nobody took him seriously.
You're going to get in trouble.
You're going to get in trouble talking like that, mister. He's like, "Oh, okay.
I better go.
I'm going to go across the street and rob them instead." Wow. Used to be a disease, then it became a disability. Now alcoholism is also a religion, according to Judge Charles Bryant, who overturned a manslaughter conviction because the killer, who killed 2 people in their home while they slept, made his admission at his Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. The judge says the admission was a form of a religious communication and protected it by the Constitution. The prosecution will appeal. So he confessed to killing somebody,
That's
but
not
because he
it's
confessed,
not a religion.
No, I don't think so either. That's kind of weird right there.
That's very weird.
But because his case was made by his confession, which he confessed at Alcoholics Anonymous, they're saying that should not have been admissible in court. He still killed them, though, right? So shouldn't he still be in jail?
That's not a religion.
No, I don't know.
I mean, I can understand that, maybe what you say in there should not have been released because it's a confidentiality thing, but it's not a religion.
Moving on. A study finds too much texting can be bad for your relationship. Researchers say that they studied the types and frequency of text messages between men and women. They say sexes use texting differently. Really? Maybe driving their partner away sometimes. Men who text their partner more are likely to be unhappy with their relationship, while women who text their partners more often are typically happier in their relationship. And they're trying to reach out to say, hey, I love you. I'm happy. But they could be driving their partner away by appearing too intrusive. Here's the thing with us. I think I've only sent you like 5 text messages in my entire life.
You just don't text.
Because I don't do that. I'll respond to yours usually with a phone call.
Okay.
Or a one-word answer. You're like, what do you think of this? I'm like, cool. I don't do that. It's not my thing. You can do all the studies you want. It has nothing to do with how happy I am or unhappy I am with you. It has everything to do with the fact that I don't like texting.
You just don't know how to text.
It's not that I don't know how. I just don't like to.
You don't know how.
I don't know how either. But that's not the main reason. Because I don't like to. Should we keep going? Because I got a couple other things here, or should we wrap things up?
I don't care.
All right. We got some. This is a good bonus break. It's brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. They like to give you extra stuff. We're gonna give you at least one more here. Stop, drop, and roll. Remember that? When we were kids? Stop, drop, and roll. Well, if your clothes were ever on fire, you're supposed to do that. Apparently, this criminal doesn't remember that. He kept running from police even though his pants were on fire. Apparently, he was lying, too. Liar, liar. His pants were on fire. In fact, the only thing that saved Carl Franklin was that his pants burned enough away that they fell to his ankles. So his pants burned off and fell to his ankles. That tripped him, and the police caught him, and then they, put out the fire. 2 bad things. First was running away from the cops. The second was putting his lit cigarette into his pants to save for after the chase, because he was running and he's like, well, I'm going to hold on to this cigarette until this chase is done. He burned his pants off. He was charged with resisting arrest. He was handcuffed and taken to jail. Halfway to the jail, he was still shouting that his pants were on fire. No, sir, we put them out. You're a liar, liar. Your pants are not on fire. And our last little story here. And this is good, because then I can throw this whole page away. Otherwise, I got to hold on to this for one little story. A woman who tried to steal cash from a Kansas City convenience store ended up with less than she came in with, namely her shirt. The whole thing was caught on tape. Our would-be robber came into the store at about 1:30 a.m. and grabbed a can of soda. She headed to the counter, then jumped over the counter toward the cash register. That's when the store clerk, Omar Takow, grabbed the woman's shirt, which inevitably came off. Now the topless woman grabbed all of her $3 and fled, leaving the shirt behind. Mr. Takow said he's not thrilled with all the publicity he got, but he's not afraid to stand up for what's right. He says they can come and try it, but they'll see that all they're going to do is get what they deserve. Apparently, she got what she had stolen was $3 that she had brought in, and she lost her shirt. There were 2 guys waiting for her outside. They all got away, but with no cash, other than the $3 that she brought in. So, it doesn't pay to be a criminal.
It really
Most
doesn't.
of the time
In
they
the
get
end,
caught.
It does not pay.
It's very rare they get away with anything. And if they do, you always have to be, looking to see if there's somebody coming after you. So kids, stay in school. Become a radio announcer like us.
Anytime you set out to purposefully harm someone else, it will not end well for you.
No, it'll come back and get you. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. I just want to say to all of our people that do listen to this bonus break, the reason I wanted to give you a little extra today is because I looked at the numbers of people that are listening, and I'm amazed at how many people are listening to the program. And
I'm amazed that anyone listens to this program. Even my mom doesn't listen. So
it's funny. Well, she doesn't know how to use a computer. I got a call from her one time because she had a computer for like a day and a half, and she called me. Keep in mind, this is my mother-in-law. She called me and she says, hey, can you help me? I am having troubles with my Yahoo. I was like, Your what?
Are you sure you don't want to talk to Heidi about this?
Your Yahoo? What do you mean? She goes, I can't get my Yahoo to work. I'm like, what are you trying to get your Yahoo to do? Well, I'm trying to get my email, and I can't get Yahoo to work. I'm like, you mean Yahoo? Don't talk to me about your Yahoo. I don't know what that is exactly, but I have an idea, and I don't want to talk about it with you. I really don't. So anyway, that's why she doesn't listen. But it's really cool, the number of people who are listening and sharing it with their friends, and we just really appreciate that because we really have a lot of fun doing this. We added some additional radio stations this week as well, which is really cool. Thank you to the radio stations that carry this program. Thank you to the people who listen, whether you're listening on the radio or on the internet, or if you're listening through a podcast or hanging out in the hallway listening while we're doing the show. I don't know how you're finding out, but thank you very much for tuning in to the John and Heidi Show. Our bonus break is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Learn more about them and sign up at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.